1. Client in room B.
I work overnight care at a group home. 4 clients. My shift is 10 to 6. Most nights they sleep straight through. I sit at the desk, do my checks every hour, fill out the logs. Easy work. Except for the client in room B. His name is Harold, 87 years old, dementia. Hasn't spoken a clear sentence in 2 years, according to the day staff. Just mumbles and stares and sometimes hums a tune nobody recognizes. But Harold talks at night. The first time was my second week. I was doing my 1 a.m. check. Opened his door quietly. He was sitting straight up in bed, eyes wide open, looking at the wall across from him. He said, clear as anything, "She's standing behind you." I turned around. Nobody there. Empty hallway. Nightlight buzzing. I looked back at Harold. He was lying down again, eyes closed, asleep. I told the day nurse about it. She shrugged. Said he talks in his sleep sometimes. Doesn't mean anything. But it happened again the next night, same time, same position, sitting up, staring at the wall. This time he said, "She says you, left the front door unlocked." I hadn't checked the front door yet. I went and checked. It was unlocked. I locked it and came back. Harold was asleep. The next night, "She doesn't like the way you sit in her chair. The desk chair, the one I always sit in." I asked the day staff whose chair it was before mine. They said it belonged to a woman named Dolores. She worked the overnight shift for 11 years. She died in that chair. Heart attack. 3 months before I started. Now every night Harold sits up at 1 a.m. and tells me what Dolores wants me to know. Lock the door. Don't eat in the kitchen. Stop leaving the light on in the hall. I've started doing everything she says. Because last week Harold said something different. He said, "She says if you don't listen, she'll tell you herself." Last night I was sitting at the desk and I felt a hand on my shoulder. I was alone. Harold's door was closed, but I could hear him through the wall. I told you.
2. Ding dong. We were 14. Stupid. Bored. It was summer and the neighborhood had run out of things to do. So we did what every kid eventually does. We played ding dong ditch, hit 3 houses on Maple, 2 on Birch, got chased by a guy in a bathrobe on Oak, the usual. Funny at the time. Then Marcus said, "Let's do the house at the end of Wexler Court, the dark one. Nobody lives there. We should have stopped." The porch light was off, the windows were black, no car in the driveway. Marcus ran up, rang the bell, and sprinted back to the sidewalk where we were hiding behind the mailbox across the street. The door opened, not fast, not angry, just slow and smooth, like someone had been waiting on the other side with their hand on the knob. Nobody was there, just darkness behind the door. We stared, waited, nothing. Then the door closed, slowly. Click. We laughed. Nervous. Marcus said, "See, nobody home. Let's go." We turned around to leave, and I looked back one more time. Every light in the house was on. Every single one. Upstairs, downstairs, porch, garage, like someone had flipped every switch in the building at the same instant. We ran. When I got home, I locked the front door and went straight to my room. My heart was pounding. I sat on my bed trying to calm down. Then my doorbell rang. 1 ring, then silence. I went to the window and looked down at the porch. Nobody there. But the welcome mat was turned around, facing in, like someone wanted me to know they were already inside. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning, I told myself it was Marcus messing with me. I called him to ask. His mom answered. She said Marcus hadn't come home yet. 3. Grandmother's mirror. I've always hated the mirror in my grandmother's house, not because of how it looked, but because of how long it took my reflection to catch up. It was old, taller than any mirror should be. with a frame carved from dark wood that looked almost like fingers reaching upward. She kept it at the end of the hallway, covered with a sheet. She never walked past it at night. Not once. Whenever I asked about it, she'd change the subject. She passed last spring and left me the house. The first night I stayed there, I pulled the sheet off. I don't know why. Curiosity maybe. It was just a mirror, just my reflection. A second too still in the dim hallway light. Except my reflection was already looking at me before I turned around. I told myself it was the angle, the light, my tired eyes playing tricks after a long drive. I put the sheet back and went to bed. The second night, I heard movement in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, like someone trying not to be heard. I opened my bedroom door, and the sheet was on the floor. My reflection stood perfectly still, hands at its sides, watching. I raised my hand. It didn't. I slept with every light on that night. In the morning, I called a friend and laughed about it. Old houses, overactive imagination. We laughed together, and I felt better. That evening, I walked past the mirror without looking. But I saw it anyway. My reflection was smiling. Not wide, not friendly, just enough to show it knew something I didn't. I covered it again, moved a chair in front of it, told myself I'd get rid of it in the morning. At 3 a.m., I woke to the sound of glass, not breaking, shifting, like something leaning its full weight against it, testing it. I didn't get up. I pulled the blanket over my head like a child, and I waited for morning. When light finally came, I walked to the hallway. The sheet was folded neatly on the chair. The mirror was gone. Not broken, not moved, just missing. At the end of the hallway where it used to stand, there was just a dark rectangle on the wallpaper where the light stopped short, like it didn't want to touch it. I moved out that afternoon. Sometimes late at night, I catch my reflection in a window or a darkened screen. It always looks relieved to see me again. 4 mile 14.
There's a stretch of Route 6 between Ashland and Carver where the cell service drops and the road gets narrow. Trees close in on both sides. No houses, no lights, no shoulders, just asphalt and pine for about 30 miles. I drive it every Friday to visit my mom. 2 weeks ago, I was on that stretch around 11 p.m. No other cars. Radio was static. I was in that autopilot zone where your eyes are open, but your brain is somewhere else. Then my headlights caught something at mile 14, a woman standing on the side of the road, not walking, not hitchhiking, just standing perfectly still with her arms at her sides, facing the tree line, not facing the road, facing the woods. I slowed down but didn't stop. Something about her posture made my stomach drop. She was too still, like a mannequin someone had placed there. I kept driving, checked the rear view. She was gone. Next Friday, same drive, same time. I passed mile 14, and there she was again. Same spot, same position, same direction, facing the trees. This time I stopped. I don't know why. Rolled my window down and called out, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help?" She didn't move. I sat there for maybe 30 seconds. Engine running, headlights pointing ahead. Her in my side mirror, standing in the red glow of my taillights. Then she turned her head, not her body, just her head, slowly, until she was looking directly at my mirror. Directly at me, her mouth opened, not like she was going to speak, wider than that, wider than a mouth should open. I hit the gas and didn't stop until I was in my mom's driveway. Last Friday, I took the highway instead, added 40 minutes to the drive. I'm not going back to Route 6, but this morning I was brushing my teeth and I looked in the mirror. Behind me, through the bathroom window, across the backyard, standing at the edge of the tree line, a woman, arms at her sides, facing my house. She's not on Route 6 anymore. She's here.
5, new house. The house was too cheap. We knew that. 2-bedroom, big yard, quiet street, and the rent was almost half of anything else in the area. My wife said it was a red flag. I said it was a gift. We moved in on a Saturday, spent the whole weekend unpacking. By Monday morning, the place already felt like ours, except for one thing. The door at the end of the downstairs hallway had a lock on the outside. A heavy one, the kind you put on a storage unit, not a bedroom. I figured it was the basement. Old house, maybe the previous owner had tools down there, wanted to keep kids out, made sense. On Tuesday, I came home from work early. The house was quiet. My wife was still at her office. I was standing in the kitchen making coffee when I heard it. 3 knocks, slow, evenly spaced, coming from behind that door. I froze, listened, nothing. Then 3 more. Same rhythm, same pace, patient. I told myself it was the pipes. Old house, things settle, things bang. But pipes don't knock in patterns. I called the landlord that night, told him the basement was making noise. He went quiet for a second too long. Then he said, "That house doesn't have a basement." I laughed. He didn't. He said the door at the end of the hall leads to a closet, a shallow one, maybe 2 feet deep. He said the previous tenant installed the lock and he never asked why. I'm standing in front of the door right now. The lock is a combination I never set. I've been staring at it for 10 minutes, trying to decide if I want to open it. The knocking stopped about an hour ago. That should make me feel better, but it doesn't, because 5 minutes ago I heard the lock click, and the numbers on the combination are slowly turning on their own. 6. Polaroid.
I found the camera at a yard sale. Old Polaroid, scuffed up, $5. The woman selling it said it still worked, but she didn't want it anymore. She didn't say why, and I didn't ask. I loaded it with a pack of film and took a photo of my kitchen. Watched it develop. Normal shot. Counter, coffee maker, window. Nothing weird. Second photo, my backyard. Normal. Third photo, my car. Normal. Fourth photo, I pointed it at my living room and clicked. The image developed slowly the way Polaroids do. The couch came in first. Then the bookshelf. Then the window. Then someone sitting in the chair by the lamp. Nobody was in my living room. I was standing in the doorway alone. But in the photo, there was a figure. Blurry. Sitting with their hands in their lap, facing the camera. I looked up. Empty chair, looked down. Figure in the photo. I took another one. Same angle. This time the figure was standing, closer to the camera. Still blurry, but I could make out the shape of a face, no features, just the suggestion of eyes and a mouth. I took a third. Same room. The figure was at the doorway, right where I was standing, arms at its sides, head tilted slightly, like it had been walking toward me the whole time. I put the camera down, walked away, sat in the kitchen for an hour telling myself it was a defect. Old film, chemical reactions, light leaks. The next morning the camera was on the kitchen table. I didn't put it there. Next to it was a fresh Polaroid, face down. I turned it over. It was a photo of me sleeping, taken from inside my bedroom.
7. Room 4.
I've worked the front desk at the Harlow Inn for 3 years. Weeknight shift, 8 to 4. Most nights I don't see a single guest. Just me, the lobby, and the hum of the vending machine down the hall. We have 12 rooms. 11 of them are bookable. Room 4 is permanently out of service. Has been since before I started. The door is locked and management said the plumbing is bad. Don't go in, don't worry about it. I never thought about it until last month. I was doing my rounds at midnight, walking the hallway, checking doors, making sure the exit signs were lit. Standard stuff. When I passed room 4, I heard the TV, not loud, just the low murmur of voices, like a late-night talk show. turned down low. I stopped and pressed my ear against the door. Definitely a television. I could hear the audience laughing. I reported it the next morning. Manager said impossible. Room 4 has no power. The breaker for that room was disconnected years ago. He showed me the panel. The switch for room 4 was missing entirely, not off, gone, but the next night I heard it again. Same time, same low murmur, same laughter. On the third night, I brought a key. The master key opens every room. I stood outside room 4 at midnight and waited. The TV was on. I could hear it clearly. I unlocked the door and pushed it open. The room was empty. No bed, no furniture, no TV, just bare walls and a carpet that hadn't been touched in years. The air smelled like dust and something faintly sweet. But in the far corner of the room, there was a chair. One wooden chair facing the wall. And on the wall, in the exact spot where a TV would hang, there was a rectangle, slightly lighter than the rest of the paint, the shape of a screen. I stared at it. The laughter started again, coming from the wall itself. And then the shape on the wall flickered. I closed the door, locked it, went back to the desk. I haven't done rounds since. Last night, the manager called me. Said a guest complained about noise from room 4, loud talking, like a crowd. I told him there's no guest in room 4. He said, I know. That's why I'm calling you.
8, row 4, seat 7. I like going to the movies alone. Late showings, weeknights, empty theaters, where you can put your feet up and forget everything for 2 hours. Last Thursday, I went to the 10:40 showing of some thriller I'd never heard of, Theater 6. I walked in and it was completely empty. Not one person. Perfect. I sat in my usual spot, row 4, seat 7, right in the center. The previews played, the movie started, standard stuff, dark scenes, tense music, someone walking down a hallway they shouldn't be walking down. About 20 minutes in, I heard popcorn, not mine. I didn't buy any. The crunching was behind me, close, maybe 1 row back. I turned around, nobody. Every seat was empty. The rows stretched back in the dim light, and there was nothing. No one. I turned back to the screen, told myself it was the sound system. Surround speakers, picking up ambient noise from the film. Then the dialogue on screen stopped mid-sentence. The actors froze, and white text appeared on the black background. Why did you turn around? That was not part of any movie. I gripped the armrest. The text disappeared. The film resumed like nothing happened. Same scene, same tension, same hallway. The crunching started again, closer this time, not 1 row back. Right behind me, I could hear the jaw working, the wet sound of someone chewing with their mouth open. The screen flickered again. New text. Don't turn around again. Every part of me wanted to run, but I couldn't move. My legs wouldn't respond. My fingers were locked on the armrests, like they'd been glued there. The crunching stopped. Something breathed on the back of my neck. Warm, slow, steady. And then a whisper. Not from the speakers, from right behind my ear. You're in my seat? The lights came on. The theater was empty. The credits were rolling. 2 hours had passed in what felt like 30 seconds. I walked out. The lobby was closed. The parking lot was empty. Even my car looked like it had been sitting there longer than it should have. I don't go to the movies anymore. But last night, I found a ticket stub in my jacket pocket. Theater 6, row 4, seat 7, for a showing that's tomorrow night. 9, The Counting Game. My daughter is 6. She sleeps like a rock, always has. Out cold by 8, doesn't move until morning. So when I heard her voice at 2 a.m., Clear as day through the baby monitor, I sat straight up. She was counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, slow and steady, like she was reading numbers off a wall, all the way to 14. Then silence. Then she'd start again. 1, 2, 3. I went to her room. She was asleep, eyes closed, covers up to her chin, but her lips were moving, and the numbers kept coming. I touched her shoulder. She stopped, rolled over, went quiet. In the morning, I asked her about it. Casual. "Hey, sweetheart, did you have a dream last night?" She looked at me with that face kids make when they're deciding whether to tell the truth. She said, the tall man in the corner told her to count. He said when she gets to 0, he's allowed to move. I asked her, what corner? She pointed to the far wall of her bedroom. There's nothing there, just the closet door and a shelf with stuffed animals. I asked her what the tall man looks like. She said she doesn't know. He told her not to look at him. She just hears him breathing, and he tells her the number to start from. That was 2 weeks ago. The first night it was 14, then 13, then 12. Last night, I sat outside her door and listened. She counted to 2. Tonight, I'm sitting in her room. The lights are on, every single one. She's been asleep for an hour. She hasn't started yet, but I can hear breathing that isn't hers. And it's not coming from the corner anymore. It's behind me. 10. The mirror rule. The rental listing was normal. 2 bed, 1 bath, furnished, utilities included. Nice photos. Good price. But at the bottom, in bold, there was one rule. The landlord called it a house rule. Like no smoking or no pets. It said, "Do not look in the bathroom mirror after midnight." I sent a message asking about it. The landlord replied with just one line. "It's not a joke, and it's not negotiable." I moved in anyway. The mirror was normal, big rectangular one above the sink. Nothing strange about it. I caught my reflection a dozen times that first day. Normal. That night, I brushed my teeth at 11:45, looked in the mirror the whole time. Normal. But part of me wanted to know. First night, I talked myself out of it. Second night too. Third night, I was up late and I needed water. I walked past the bathroom at 12:15 and stopped. The door was open. The light was off, but the mirror was catching light from somewhere. A faint glow, like moonlight, except my bathroom doesn't have a window. I stepped inside, turned on the light, looked up. My reflection was looking back at me. Normal. Except I was standing still. My reflection was brushing its teeth. Slow circles, methodical, the way I do it, with the same toothbrush, wearing the same shirt. But I wasn't brushing. My hands were at my sides. I watched for 10 seconds, 15. My reflection didn't stop, didn't blink, just kept brushing. Then it stopped. Set the toothbrush down on the counter. My counter. In the reflection, it looked directly at me, tilted its head just slightly, and smiled in a way I have never smiled. Its lips moved. No sound, but I could read them perfectly. You should have listened. I covered the mirror with a towel that night. In the morning, the towel was on the floor and the mirror was clean. I moved out the next day. The landlord didn't seem surprised. He just asked me one question. Did you smile back? I didn't, but I can't stop wondering what would have happened if I did. 11. Voicemail. My phone buzzed at 3 a.m. Voicemail from an unknown number. I keep my phone on silent at night. Always have. So when the screen lit up, I almost didn't look. One voicemail, unknown number, no missed call. Just a voicemail that appeared like it had always been there. I put my earbuds in and hit play. It was my voice, not someone who sounded like me. My voice, the way I clear my throat before I talk, the way I drag the S on certain words, every detail was mine. And it said things I'd never said. Don't go to work tomorrow. Call in sick. Don't answer the door when they knock. And whatever you do not listen to this voicemail all the way through. I pulled my earbuds out, sat in the dark for a minute. Then I did what anyone would do. I played it again. This time the message was different, shorter. Just 4 words in my own voice. I said, "Too late. I haven't slept since." That was 3 days ago. This morning, my coworker said something strange. She got a voicemail from me at 3 a.m. last night. I didn't leave one. She played it for me. It was her voice. 12. Webcam.
I leave my webcam on while I work. Just habit. I use it for video calls and I never bother turning it off. The little green light stays on all day. Doesn't bother me. Last Tuesday, I was at my desk and I glanced at the webcam preview in the corner of my screen. Just a reflex. I saw myself, my desk, the window behind me, and a coffee mug on my desk that wasn't there yet. I looked down. No mug. Looked back at the screen. Mug was there, sitting right next to my keyboard, in the webcam feed, but not in real life. 5 minutes later, I went to the kitchen, made coffee, came back, and set the mug down, in the exact same spot. I stared at the webcam feed. It had been showing me the future. 5 minutes ahead. I tested it. I held up 3 fingers. Nothing in the preview. Then I looked back at the preview and saw myself holding up 3 fingers. 5 minutes later, the preview had already shown it before I did it. I started watching the feed constantly. It was always 5 minutes ahead. I could see myself typing emails I hadn't written yet, picking up my phone before it rang, standing up to stretch before the thought even crossed my mind. It was fascinating. For a day. Then, on Thursday, I looked at the preview and my chair was empty. I was still sitting in it. I could feel the armrests under my hands. But the webcam showed my desk, my mug, my keyboard. No me. 5 minutes. The feed is always 5 minutes ahead. I stood up, walked out of the room, walked back in, sat down, looked at the preview, still empty. I haven't moved from this chair. It's been 4 minutes. I don't know what happens in 1 more minute. But the webcam knows.